Okay, so we're diving deep into the cosmos today. Seems like everyone's buzzing about this Comet Tsuchinshan-ATLS, and well, we've got your messages, articles, even a couple of YouTube videos about it. So let's get into it.
Yeah, what's really got everyone talking is this isn't just any old comet, you know? It's
Mm.
coming from way out there, like the outer edges of the solar system. We're talking the Oort cloud.
Oh wow, the Oort cloud. So that's like a what is that again?
It's this distant region right on the edge of our solar system full of these icy bodies just kind of hanging out. And every now and then, one of them gets nudged out and starts this incredible journey around the sun.
And this one, the Tsuchinshan-ATLS. How long has this trip been taking?
Get this, roughly 80,000 years.
80,000 years. Wow, that's it's almost impossible to grasp.
Tell me about it. Think about it. Its last visit was roughly 880,000 years ago.
Hmm.
Our early human ancestors were just starting to migrate out of Africa.
Talk about a once-in-a-lifetime event, right? So how can we see this thing?
Well, the good news is it's currently visible in the northern hemisphere.
Okay, so where should we be looking?
After sunset, look low on the horizon towards the west.
Got it. And any tips for getting a good view?
Dark skies are key. The darker your surroundings, the better. So escape those city lights if you can.
Right, makes sense. And I'm guessing binoculars wouldn't hurt either.
Not at all. While it might be visible to the naked eye, binoculars will definitely give you a better look.
Some of our listeners even sent in photos of it. Some of those shots were amazing.
Hmm.
The comet's tail stretching across the night sky. How did they get those pictures?
Those are probably taken with long exposure photography. It's a cool trick where you basically keep the camera shutter open longer, which lets you capture more light and see details that you'd normally miss.
Makes sense. So we've got this comet visible in the night sky, but it's more than just a pretty sight, right? What makes this comet so special for scientists?
Comets are like time capsules. They're made of this primordial material from the very beginning of our solar system, like 4.6 billion years ago. They've got this ice dust rock, all preserved in this pristine state.
Wow, 4.6 billion years. That's older than dirt.
That's one way to put it. So by studying comets, we're essentially looking back in time, trying to understand the conditions that led to, well, us.
So by studying this comet, we could learn more about the formation of our solar system.
Exactly. And maybe even the origins of life on Earth.
Whoa, okay, hold on. How does that work?
There's this theory that comets carrying water and organic compounds could have actually delivered the building blocks of life to early Earth.
So you're saying that life on Earth could have come from a comet.
It's a possibility. And there's some evidence to support it. Like analysis of the comet, Hartley 2 found a close match between the water ice on the comet and the water we find here on Earth.
Wow, that's fascinating. So this comet survived its close encounter with the sun, but what happens next? Does it just keep cruising through space forever?
It's tough to say for sure. It could keep going on its current path and we won't see it again for another 80,000 years.
Or there's more. What else could happen?
Well, comets can be a bit unpredictable. Sometimes they break apart.
Break apart. Why would that happen?
It's all about that close encounter with the sun. The intense heat and gravitational forces can really take their toll. Think of it like a cosmic tug of war. Sometimes comets just can't handle the pressure and they fragment.
We've seen some pretty dramatic images of that happening, right? Like that comet that got ripped apart by Jupiter's gravity a while back.
Exactly. It's a good reminder that even though we study these objects and try to predict their behavior, there's still an element of, well, mystery to it all.
So whether Comet Tsuchinshan-ATLAS fades away or puts on a dazzling display by breaking apart, it's a powerful reminder of how much we still don't know about the universe.
It really makes you appreciate the power and mystery of space, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Now, you've sent over all this information about this comet. Clearly, it's captured your imagination. What is it about this particular comet that you find so fascinating?
You know, it's funny you should ask. It's that feeling, looking up at a night sky and seeing something that's been traveling for, what was it, 80,000 years? Something our ancient ancestors might have seen, too. It just connects us to the past, It makes you think about the future, too.
It's like you said, a reminder that we're on this incredible journey. And with comets like this one, it feels like we're just scratching the surface.
Exactly. And remember how we were talking about comets potentially carrying the ingredients for life? That gets even more interesting when you start thinking about life beyond Earth. We're talking about exoplanets here, planets orbiting other stars. And there are billions of them out there.
Billions. Seriously. That's just, I can't even wrap my head around that.
It's mind-blowing, right? And the really exciting part is that we're finding more and more of these exoplanets in what we call the habitable zone of their stars, meaning they could have liquid water, which is, kind of essential for life as we know it.
Okay, so hold on. If comets brought water and the building blocks of life to Earth, are you saying they could have done the same for these other planets?
That's the million-dollar question. And it's a question that's driving a lot of research right now. We're looking for any signs, organic molecules, evidence of water, anything that might point to the existence of life past or present on these distant worlds.
It seems like every time we answer a question about space, it just leads to a million more. But that's a good thing, right? Keeps things interesting.
Exactly. And comets, these ancient messengers from the early solar system, they hold so many clues. For example, by studying the specific types of organic molecules in a comet, or the ratio of isotopes in its water ice, we can start to understand the conditions that existed in the early solar system.
And that helps us understand how life might have arisen here on Earth and maybe on other planets too.
Precisely. It's like putting together a giant cosmic puzzle.
So we're talking about unraveling the mysteries of our own existence and the potential for life beyond Earth, all by studying, what did you call it? A dirty snowball in space.
That's the one. It just goes to show you never know where the next big discovery is going to come from. And it all starts with a simple question, a sense of wonder.
Okay, but let's bring it back down to Earth for a second, or at least back to this specific comet, Tsuchinshan-ATLAS. You mentioned that it follows a predictable path. Can you explain that a bit more? I mean, space is huge. It seems like things should be more, I don't know, random.
You'd think so, right? But that's the amazing thing about physics. Even though space seems chaotic, there's an underlying order to it. Comets like this one are bound by gravity. Just like the planets in our solar system, their orbits are determined by the gravitational pull of the sun and other celestial bodies.
So it's like a giant cosmic dance with each object following a specific choreography.
Exactly. And while we might not be able to predict every single step in that dance, especially when it comes to comets and their sometimes unpredictable behavior near the sun, we can understand the basic movements and patterns.
And that predictability is what makes them so valuable for scientific study.
Exactly. By observing these objects, tracking their movements, and analyzing their composition, we gather more pieces of the cosmic puzzle. Slowly but surely, we're building a clearer picture of our universe and our place in it.
You know, for something that's been around for billions of years, the universe still manages to surprise us, doesn't it?
It certainly does, and that's what keeps things exciting. For instance, we've been talking about comets as these predictable objects following their orbital paths. But what's incredible is that even with all our knowledge and calculations, there's still a chance that Comet Tsuchinshan-ATLAS could surprise us.
Surprise us how? What else could it possibly do?
Well, remember how we talked about the possibility of it breaking apart due to the gravitational forces and heat from the sun?
Yeah, that image of that comet being torn apart by Jupiter's gravity is still pretty vivid in my mind.
Right. Well, Tsuchinshan-ATLAS made it past its closest approach to the sun, but those forces can still have a delayed effect. It's possible that internal stresses from all that heat could cause it to fragment later on, or it could have a close encounter with something else out there that we haven't detected yet.
So even with all our observations and predictions, there's still an element of mystery, a chance for the unexpected.
Exactly. And that's part of what makes comets so captivating. They remind us that even in a universe governed by laws, there's always room for wonder and surprise. We might think we have it all figured out, but the cosmos is a way of reminding us that we're still just starting to scratch the surface.
Okay, I have to ask, what would happen if it did break apart? What would we see here on Earth?
Well, it depends. It depends on the size and direction of the fragments. We might see the comet get a lot brighter all of a sudden as fresh ice and dust are exposed to sunlight. Or, if we're really lucky, we might even see a spectacular meteor shower if Earth passes through the debris trail.
Now, that would be a sight to see.
It would be an incredible opportunity to study the comet's composition in even greater detail. Those fragments would be like free samples delivered right to our atmosphere.
So even a comet breaking apart, while a little sad, could offer incredible scientific insights.
Exactly. It's like we were saying earlier, even in the face of potential disruption, there's always an opportunity for discovery and learning.
That's a good way to look at it. Speaking of new possibilities, we've talked a lot about what we can learn from studying comets, but I'm curious. What are some of the biggest unanswered questions that you hope we might get closer to answering by studying this comet?
Oh, there are so many. One of the biggest ones is, how did the giant planets in our solar system end up in their current orbits? We think they migrated outward early on, scattering comets and asteroids like crazy. By studying the makeup of comets like Tsuchinshan-ATLAS, which have been hanging out in the Oort cloud undisturbed, we might be able to get a clearer picture of what happened way back then.
So this one comet could hold clues to the entire evolution of our solar system.
Exactly. And of course, the other big question is, are we alone in the universe? And if not, how common is life out there? If comets brought the ingredients for life to Earth, it makes you wonder if they could have done the same for other planets in other solar systems.
It's amazing to think that something we can see from our own backyards could help us answer some of the biggest mysteries in the universe.
It really is humbling, isn't it? And it reminds us that science is a journey, not a destination. Every new discovery just leads to more questions and challenges us to rethink what we thought we knew.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive into Comet Tsuchinshan-ATLAS, what's the one thing you hope our listeners take away from all of this?
Don't ever stop looking up. Whether you're gazing at the stars with just your eyes or through a powerful telescope, there's always something new to discover, something that can spark your curiosity and make you think. Who knows, you might even make a discovery of your own.
That's a great point. That faint streak of light you see in the sky might just be a messenger from the dawn of time, carrying secrets that could change everything we thought we knew about the universe. This is the Deep Dive, reminding you to keep exploring, keep asking questions, and never stop looking up.